Good afternoon. This is Sam Vaughn for Sam Sports Report. In Sunday's action, the first game was the Browns and Bengals. On the first drive was a long, grueling drive of 12 plays to make it 7-0 Bengals, but the Browns would come right back and tie it at 7. On a 3rd and 9 was a first down conversion and a 4th and 1 to score the 7 again. Back-to-back punts by the Bengals and Browns. That drive that started from the 16, they had another penalty that really helped them score a touchdown. The Browns had a lead at 14-7. Bengals had a lead at 14-7, but the Browns would close it out at half at 14-10. Right out of the half, the Bengals led a penalty to help them. Right out of the half, the Browns would take a lead after a penalty helped them on 3rd and 9. It was a touchdown by the Browns to make it 14-16, but the Browns would miss the extra point. And on that extra point, the Bengals would get a field goal, and nothing happened in the fourth to wind up winning 17-16 as the missed extra point really hurt the Browns. After the Browns, it was Aaron Rodgers against his former team, the Jets. Aaron Rodgers would start the game right with a 19-yard touchdown. DJ Metcalf was living right as he scored a touchdown, his first career touchdown. It was a touchdown by the Jets to take a 9-7 lead. A field goal by Pittsburgh, which gave them a 10-9 lead, but quickly right after that, the Jets scored a touchdown. A punt by the Steelers. It was a field goal before the 19-10, and then before the half, a touchdown. One of them was a 30-yard completed pass. Into the half, it was 19-17 New York Jets. But a punt and a punt. A touchdown by the Jets. It was 26-17. But the Steelers would counter with a touchdown to start the fourth. And a fumble. A touchdown by Pittsburgh. And all of a sudden, Pittsburgh had the lead of when they were down 9 to start the fourth. The score was 31-26. The Jets would score another touchdown at 31-32. But the Steelers would get it down for a field goal of 60 yards, bombs away, Chris Boswell. The Steelers win 34-32. And in the Falcons and Buccaneers game, the Falcons started off the game with a touchdown and a punt. And maybe you thought the Falcons were going to go ahead 14, but a punt and a punt and a punt. 2 punts in a row, and one by the Buccaneers, a field goal, a turnover on downs that was critical that responded with a Buccaneers touchdown. By the half, it was tied at 10 after the Falcons converted a field goal and then a punt, and then the end of half. The Buccaneers would miss a field goal to start the second half. A punt by the Falcons and a touchdown of a 9-yard touchdown, and a field goal, a punt, a touchdown, 20-17. 23-20 was a touchdown, and a missed field goal. 23-20 was the final. Buccaneers. The Seahawks played the 49ers. A punt, a touchdown to start at 7-0 was the score. A touchdown by the Seahawks that led the game to tying by 7. A punt and a punt made it 7-7. Missed field goal, a field goal, and a sloppy game. As a field goal led by the 49ers, as he would miss 3 field goals later on in the game, and Jake Moody would be cut. San Francisco currently trying other punters out. But after that missed field goal, a field goal by the Seahawks, an end of half, 10-7. a third quarter interception by Brock Purdy, a punt, and a blocked field goal by Seattle. That was 10-7. And the fumble, 10-7. And a field goal to make it 10-10. A punt, and an INT. A field goal to make the Seattle lead the game 13-10. A touchdown by the 49ers. A fumble by the Seahawks that promptly ended the game. They fumbled it at the San Francisco 9. That was a disaster of a play to lose the game 17. Then it was the Broncos and the Titans. It was a low-scoring game. 2 field goals to start both sides. As so often it seemed, there were turnovers and fumbles, and that's been the story in week 1. And then an interception right back for the Titans, but 2 punts in a row, a sack, led 6-3, and a touchdown made it 10-6, 10-9, a field goal before the end of the half. Third quarter, field goal and a field goal. Interception by the Broncos to start the second half. A field goal and a field goal. But Titans led 12-10. And a field goal by the Broncos to lead 13-12. A punt. 4 punts in a row by 2 by each team. A touchdown on 4 plays. A 19-yard touchdown. And a 50-yard pass at that to complete it, and that made it 20-12. A punt, that turnover on Dats. A punt, and another turnover on downs. A fumble by the Titans was 20-12. That was led to a sloppy game. Also mentioning before, the Patriots won over the Raiders won over the Patriots. I didn't mention that, 13-20. Colts won over the Dolphins 33-8. Cardinals won over the Saints 20-13. That was all in the noon games. The Texans and Rams played. That was also a low-scoring game. The Texans and Rams. Texans did not look great. They didn't look like the same team they did last year or especially 2 seasons ago. Houston led the game with a field goal. The Rams were not far behind them, though, with the touchdown. Their bad woes continued with the difference in the third quarter of a field goal. At that time, it was 9-7. That was all the points they scored was the Texans on 3 field goals. A touchdown by the Rams, and nobody scored in the fourth to lead to a low-scoring game of 14-9. And the finale, it was a great game. Sunday night finished with a bang, as the Bills scored the first touchdown. But then it was a field goal by the Ravens, punt, and touchdown by the Ravens. They all of a sudden had the lead. Punt and touchdown by the Ravens. It was 17-7. A field goal 17-10. Field goal 20-10. Field goal 20-13. The Bills would respond right back with a touchdown. Punt and a punt. 27-19. But the Ravens would take the lead big, 30-19. A touchdown by the Bills, but the Ravens had scored right back. It was 40-25, and you thought the game was over. On the next possession, it was a punt and a punt. A 40-32 game after the touchdown by the Bills on a 3rd and 10. They completed the ball to the 2, and Josh Allen, short right pass to Kevin Coleman, 4th and 2 from the 10. And then a costly fumble by Derrick Henry that made the Bills a touchdown, and quickly 3 and out. And then the Bills kicked a field goal all the way through. At the lowest point of the Buffalo's probability was to 1.1, according to Gen Stats, of making a comeback. And yes, the Bills did that. The final game was the Bears and Vikings. The Bears had a 7-0 lead, a punt, a field goal by the Vikings, a turnover on downs, and 4 punts in a row, and 3 punts by the Bills, a field goal 10-6, a punt, and an INT. The score was all Bears at this point, 17-6, but a punt. 3 punts in a row by both teams. A missed field goal by the Vikings. A touchdown after an INT thrown by Caleb Williams to make it 17-12. And eventually, all of a sudden, the Vikings had a 3-point lead. A touchdown. The Bears' problems where they were for comeback. A fumble by the time they got down. And the Bears just looked like the 2000 Royals, where they just couldn't pull anything out. The final score was 27-24. That was the final. Bears lose on Monday night. And the Bears just aren't good enough right now. They look like the same team, just with a different coach. That's Sam Vaughn Sports.